Okay, good morning, everyone. We're live with Rob Schremp. Man, I'm really excited for this. This is, I think this is the fourth convo that I'm about to have, and the first three were with former teammates, all from the OHL, all from our class, the early to mid 2000s, and your name came up in each one, at least one, because at that time the Knights were, you guys were dominating. Still to this day, there's still like I don't know, some type of shock reverberating through the OHL from what you guys did in that year. But Rob Schremp, thank you, man, for coming on. Um, I just mentioned before we went live that I have to ask you about the senior hockey. I seen you're playing senior hockey. I'm dipping my toes as well. You're back in the game. How does that feel after being retired?
Yeah, it's been great. To be honest with you, we have a great group of guys in Strathroy, and the guy that got me into it, Mark Van Geffen. I was playing some golf with him right when I moved back to London, at the Acorn tournament, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, I'm here in business development." And he's like, "Do you want to play?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And
Mhm.
at the time, like I remember senior hockey back in the day when I was playing junior hockey. My billet dad played in it, and it was good. Like it was good. I went and watched it, but it was senior hockey, right? Like it was like those mid 30s, some early 40s guys that still think they had it, want to play kind of thing. So that's what I had as a memory of it. And then there's two memories. So there was that memory, and when I was like, yeah, I'll come out. I'm good for that. So I came out, I got out there. I was like, oh crap, like it's like 23, 24-year-olds. I'm like, oh, this isn't senior hockey at all. This is like semi-pro, bro. Like it's like, these kids are young. I'm old, man. And so are you. Like we're getting there. We're 39, 40. You're same age, right?
Yeah, 86.
Yeah, we're
80.
39. Like, and I've been behind a freaking computer since I retired and doing business world shit. So I don't have the hockey muscles anymore, and I don't have what it takes. So it was a bit of a shock, but it was also great. I do love that part of it. And when Geff asked me to come out, it's like the group of guys in the locker room, like that's the stuff I think you'll probably contest to that or attest to that. Like you miss that banter, you miss that, ribbing each other in the room and then going out and being brothers on the ice. It's like that's all like the big part of hockey. So it's been fun to go back. And then on the side note, the second memory I had though was Ryan Smith, who I was with the Oilers with for a brief time. He played senior hockey like 2 years after he retired. He almost got decapitated. So I asked the Gaff guy, I'm like, all I ask is I don't really in senior hockey. He's like, no, that anymore.
Mhm. How's your body feeling? Because it's probably the hardest you skated in a long time. I know for me, like my groins were instantly firing. Like, yeah, it was like you're right. You just don't have that hockey body anymore. How does your body feel? Like, do you feel since you've stretched your legs a bit, could you play pro again if you gave 3 months to training and dedicating yourself to it?
Yeah, I could still do it. I could still probably. I don't know. I want to say that, and now I'm backtracking, but I think yeah, like if you put some effort into it, going to that deep dive train like we did when we were pro, of course. Like my hands are still there, my brain's still there. My brain's probably better now, just having settled and not been on high alert for 7 years. Getting back into it now, it's even as the games go on, you start to feel better and better. Like the first game last year, I was like, oh, whoa, whoa. It's like because you also like 7 years of men's league, you get all those bad
Mhm.
habits. You forget like now you got to back check. Now players are doing second and third efforts, like really hard second and third efforts. You got to forget about those responsibilities that those tangible things that you have to do in real like pro hockey. Right when you play men's league, you don't have any of those. Like you said, we go out there and as a ex pro, you have to like glide around. If you try, then you
Yeah.
sort of infuriate some people that get they're going to prove the NHL guy's not as good as everybody says he is. Blah blah blah. But anyways, like getting back into that stuff. It's so like last game I played, it was like I was snapping draws back. I was like, yeah, man, I got
Yeah.
yeah, I still
Yeah.
got
Yeah. I'm
so
playing men's league now as well. I was playing senior. The team folded this just the other week. But men's league, the last few games I've been getting into it on the ice because yeah, I've been trying a little bit because as I mentioned earlier before we went live, like, we're tapping at the door 40. It's like if a 40-year-old is out skating you, like that's on you when you're 25 or your mid 20s or whatever. But I'm getting into it in men's league because the stick abuse. It's like, honestly, it's like, fuck off, man. Like, enough with the slashes, the hooks. Like, I'm not gonna stand for this. And so I might have to take a little pause from it. But I do miss being in the game. It's been a few years, and people ask all the time. They probably ask you too, like, do you miss hockey? So yeah, but like, let's dive in. I'm curious about what it was like, your experience right from when hockey started to get serious for you, because you were, yeah, dare I say, that prodigy-esque sort of player coming out of the US, which at the time wasn't like a huge hockey entity like it is now. It's grown a lot. You were this big wave and then made a big splash in the OHL. Like, when did it get serious? Like, though, like, because it was a bit before the OHL, I imagine.
Like I'd say though, I've been saying this a lot lately. I like this tagline. I'm a serious guy that doesn't take things too seriously. And even back in those days, like all around me, it was getting serious. I just did it because I loved it and I was obsessed with it. And I enjoyed everything that came with it, the camaraderie in the room, every day in practice, competing. That's what it was all about for me. But around me, it's like if you could have an image, it was like in for me, it was like with the hockey part of it, it was so calm, like the bluest sky, the calmest water just floating on a boat. And around me, there's like clouds. That's like the outside noise in this sort of serious time starting to develop. And there was a lot. There was, then you start to feel the pressure, which
Mhm.
is weird. It came like there was a lot of, even like going back to like Trinity, Quebec, like we went to that tournament. Like they had like camera crews following my dad around. My dad's like, man, why are you following me? I just want to have a beer and watch my kid play Pee Wee hockey. What are the
How old?
cameras doing? Like, get away.
So how old were you at this time?
13.
Okay, so 13, and there's cameras following you around already.
Yeah, well, they wrote like this article like right before the tournament, and they were like comparing me to Gretzky, Lemieux, and Lafleur. So then, obviously, two parts of it. It's obviously it's pretty cool to have that, but then it's like there's also like a tsunami that comes after that. It's like a wave of like unwanted attention, and sometimes when that comes, well, just say for me, when it did come, then it came with like scrutiny and like microscope and like watching everything. And again, I'm just out there to play. I just love the game. I didn't ask to be compared to those people. I know who they are and they're freaking amazing. But that being said, it came with a lot. Yeah. And for me, I was always just like, I just loved it. And I was just playing. Even at that point at 13, 14 years old, I wasn't doing it to go to the show. I wasn't playing hockey to go to the show. I just loved hockey. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a bizarre time, and we didn't come from a hockey background. It was interesting. At 14, I was playing tier 2 junior A. So, playing against older guys and having success. Obviously I'm competitive as hell. I love having success, but the success wasn't the goal wasn't NHL.
Mm-hmm. Where were you playing tier
But
2 at the
I don't know if
time?
that answers. The Ontario Provincial League. So we had a team in Syracuse. Don Kernan put together, who was my big mentor for me growing. Like he kind of found me and developed me at 10 by buying the rink in my hometown. He didn't really find me; I was already there. But so when he bought the rink, from 10 to 15, I spent like 6-7 hours a day in that rink. And him and his son really did a good job of developing me. But they had he was a very smart hockey guy, still is to this day. But he realized how valuable that. Before it was the Ontario Provincial, it was the Metro League. And there was, all those Caledon, you go down the list. There was like, there was a big Metro League, and then it split a little bit and it turned into the Ontario Provincial. But Don grabbed a team in Syracuse, a charter out of Syracuse, and we played out of that league. So for me, having that right there in Syracuse and being able to go to that Canadian Junior League was a huge asset, because then I didn't have to leave home. Because at 14, I was getting flown down. I got flown down to Pittsburgh for the I think it was the Null team at that time, Pittsburgh Forge. They flew us down, my dad and I and my brother, to go there. And then I got, the U.S. National Development Team program. I got to try out there. I made the team. And I said no to all these things because I could stay home and play in Syracuse. And that Ontario Provincial League was very good. It was quality. Canadian hockey was like, it's huge, but back then it was kind of like creme de la creme, right? And the guys in that Ontario Provincial League were guys that didn't want to go to the OHL, were very good hockey players, didn't want to burn their eligibility by going to the CHL. And then you would have at the tail end of it, you'd have older guys like OAs that could, there's only 3 spots in the OHL for OAs. So those guys would get pushed down to junior, and they'd been playing in the OHL for like, 3 years or whatever. So the league was very competitive, and it was a great place for me to kind of, stay home, be with my family, not have to leave at 14 and play hockey.
Yeah. So did you have an agent at this time that was advising you what decision to make? Because if you didn't have a hockey family, like how do you make this decision or decisions when the U.S. national team is development programs asking you to come with them? You have all these other prestigious programs interested in you. Like how do you know what to do if you don't come from a hockey background, like your family? I mean,
yeah, we have, I started getting the agents coming at 12. I was getting called wine and dine. Like we had dinner with Bobby Orr at 12. At 13, sorry. I made a movie with Gretzky when I was 12. We did this training video out in California. It was sick. And again, for us, it was so bizarre because at 10, I was just like a travel hockey player. And it was just about the snow comes and you put the hockey gear on. The snow goes, you take it off and grab a lacrosse stick. So that's really where it laid at 10. And then Don Kernan bought that rink, and his son turns out with me. We're actually making a movie about this right now. We're doing a script about my life story. And Don bought the rink, and his son was a Zamboni driver. It turns out, Jordy, like this guy, and I'm just saying this, I played in every league in the world. I've been everywhere pretty much. NHL, KHL, AHL, go down the list. And it's not a brag thing. It's just to say where I've been. Donnie Kernan Jr., the Zamboni driver, is the best shooter of the hockey puck I still to this day have ever seen.
wow.
I was 10 at the time, so 96. And this guy buys the rink. His dad buys the rink. This guy's driving the Zamboni for a while. And all of a sudden, my dad was cooking a turkey out in the back for everybody. He loves cooking. So he's cooking a bird. And all of a sudden, he said he just heard this like sound. He was like, whoa, what the hell is that? He looks out there. It's a Zamboni driver just ripping pucks. So that guy taught me at 10 how to shoot a puck. And at 11, I played my first year at AAA, and I scored 400 goals and around 700 points. And that got me on the map. And now at 12, I'm going to make a movie with Gretzky. And his agency, IMG, they're kind of like put me under their wing. At 13, I'm at dinner with Bobby Orr. Like this stuff all came out of the blue. Like none of it was planned. So I had an agent. Yeah, I had an agent, and it was just kind of, at that time I was playing good hockey. It was, 13 playing with 14, 15-year-olds and the Trinity Quebec thing. So I was really on a kind of a world scale, so to speak, and kind of do what I wanted. And then, the guidance was, do what, fits you best. And I felt like that national team program, it was more like, everybody plays 4 lines rolling kind of thing. And I remember asking a question like, okay, like all that sounds good. And the training sounds good. And what about power play? And it was just like, well, whoever's up is going. And I was like, no, sorry. That I still don't to this. Not everybody belongs on the power play. I'm sorry. There's rules in this game. And that's where your top dogs get their chance to have an impact on the game. And we talk strategy, and we're trying to win. Like when you get a power play, you put your dogs out, you don't play equal. So that turned me off, and I'm like, nah. And when I went to Syracuse, I was playing like 23 to 25 minutes a game at 14 in the provincial league. So, it only made sense to go there and kind of craft my game, playing a lot of minutes and being, pushing against high level.
So you've, 14 playing that amount of minutes, taking charge, on the power play, quarterbacking things like you always have, you're known for that. Was there any sense of intimidation playing with older players like that, such a young age? Because for those folks who don't know, junior hockey, like 14, you're essentially a baby because there could be 20-year-olds playing. So Did you have any fear at all? Was there anything like that? Because from the outside looking in, it seems like you've just always been fearless and just owned the spotlight.
Yeah, I wore it. I wore a pretty good mask. Like I was very confident, and well, I'd say I was very cocky. I was very cocky. I think confidence and cockiness got me out of my situation and got me to where, I could get to other places in the world with this talent. And when I was 14, going against the 20, like I had an older brother too, and he's, we, we used to scrap and have an older brother that's 3 years older. Like I learned like pain thresholds, and I learned like how to poke the bear. I learned how to, I learned a lot of stuff running it through my brother. So when I got to 14, and most guys were like, yeah, like there's some monsters out there. It was like, oh shit. I mean, my first game of the tier 2 schedule, I scored a hat trick in my first 3 shifts. So that kind of gave me a little bit. Yeah, man, I can do this. But going there on the game day, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh boy, I better keep my head up. Like this. What is this gonna be? You don't know. Like playing 12 years old, I played against 14, 15-year-olds. So played up. And the other thing that helped me a lot too was from like 11 to that age, going up to that age, I practiced with the junior A team every day. Like Don, that guy that bought the rink, Don Kernan, he had his junior A team at that rink in my hometown. I got to go on the ice with him every day. And there's, it's pretty cool to have this, but Matt Murley was a big idol of mine. I grew up, idolizing him and Tim Conley, and I got to skate with Matty every day. Says that, himself, he's like, man, like this kid was 11 years old and he was the 3rd best player. So I used to go out there and like do well, and I mean, they weren't trying to kill me or anything, but I was in the play, like making, like, was a little bit of, confidence to go do this. It's just like when the puck actually drops, though, you never know what you're going to get because now those other guys on the other team are going to want to kill you. So the first game I had a hat trick, and I had a really good weekend. Like the first 3 games I had like 8 points. And then the next weekend, word got around pretty quick. The next weekend, the first game, I remember coming down on a 1-on-1. I went to go attack the guy's triangle. He didn't even try to poke check or anything. He brought his stick up and just swung it across, and like right across here, and shattered his stick. And I was like, oh shit. And
Wow.
that took me back a couple pegs, because it didn't hurt or anything, but oh man, I'm really going to have to be aware. Like now they're going to want to kill me. So then I would go out and light it up, and then I started to get lippy too. And then I'd start chirping them. I lipped because I had a cage on. So I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't get to me. And I love the pain. Like I used to go to my brother's practices when I was like 6 years old, to his football practices, and I would go and do the drills without gear on. I didn't care. And I was doing head-on collisions with those guys. I'm like, fucking hit me in the head. Like, Gah. And my parents were like, this kid's nuts. I just was super fearless. I didn't have any fear, and I didn't care. You couldn't hurt me because, my brother used to get half an hour straight worth of Charlie horses and every arm and every leg. Like that shit hurt. This stuff of like breaking your stick over me, I loved it. Like bring it. And lacrosse with it too. Lacrosse is like such a barbaric sport, really. You're getting whacked and cross-checked, and that's what the rules are. So that kind of also built me up to be fearless and understand, like, it would take a certain type of hit to hurt me. So if I know where everybody is at all times, then that hit's not going to happen.
You know what? Listening to you right now, it's really, really drilling home like the importance of being a multi-sport athlete, because you think you're a pioneer. You're definitely ahead of your time with the skill. You're able to pick up the puck on your stick before everyone was doing it, and these types of things came from lacrosse. The toughness and the mental toughness, physical toughness came from playing with older kids, fighting your brother, lacrosse, football, like all of these things that were tools for your belt, like help mold you into the player that you became. So it's just interesting. A lot of players these days, they just want to play hockey year round. It's just hockey, 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 skill development, cones and pylons, just hockey. But it really is multiple ingredients that make the dish, not just one thing, right? So yeah, it's just interesting to hear that right from you. So when did the OHL start coming around? Because did you play your underage year?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you played your underage year. You needed a special exemption for
Oh,
that.
I got drafted. I played 14 and 15 in the Ontario Provincial, and then I was drafted first overall the normal age year draft.
Mm.
So I didn't have exceptional status or anything like that.
Okay. So how does it work with London? Like how do you get to London? Because what's going on here? Like how does London just get you? They get
Well,
Claire Perry, they get Gagne, they get Kane, they get like
yeah.
literally everybody.
I mean, before me with Perry, like they drafted Perry. Nash was part of the package when the Hunters bought this team. I believe Nasher. I want to say that Nasher was already here when they bought, and then they drafted Corey Perry was their first draft pick.
It's
So
sorry. You were drafted by Mississauga, not by London. Okay. Correction.
yeah, yep. So I got drafted first overall to Mississauga, and it was Don Cherry drafted me,
Mhm.
which was pretty cool. Like I always like to bring that up just because it's I think a lot of Don Cherry, and I know there's a lot of controversy around that. It's sad from my perspective of what happened to him and knowing him as a person. He drafted me, and then he drafted me, and then like a month later, their group sold. But Don was around all the time my rookie year, and he was the nicest human being in the world. Like he was the nicest guy. I was like, oh my god, that TV thing is just a persona. It's all for show. He's been doing it for a long time, but it's amazing. But it's just a show.
Yeah.
Dude, he comes off and he's like the nicest fucking guy. Like soft spoken, genuinely cares about people. You know what I mean? Like he was told the team, didn't he? Right? Come watch practice. Like, hey, how you doing? How's transition going? Like, you're everything okay with your family. Like genuinely care. So to see what happened to him was tough, but you know, that year was good. And then I had Steve Ludzig that year, who I love. He's a second dad to me. He's always been. I still have good contact with him and Marianne and the boys, Ryan and Steven. I love their family. Like he was awesome. And my rookie year went amazing. And I learned a lot. I came there like a fresh puppy, dude. Like I came out of shape. First overall pick. Back home, like back in those days, there wasn't this big push for working out and shit. Like it was more just, be ready to play hockey. So when I showed up, I was super overweight, and Ludsey's like, "You're gonna get your ass in shape." And the way he said it to me was like, he was gonna make sure of it, but he's gonna help me do it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, we're gonna get you in shape. It was we're gonna do it together. And I worked my ass off, and I got in shape, and all of a sudden, like playing better hockey. I felt better. I took a bigger role in the team, and Ludsey really guided me to stuff. Like I only fought once in the OHL, and it was for it wasn't for Ludsey, but like I remember this: we were taking a face-off against Daryl Boyce, and I took the draw, and Daryl comes right up in my balls. I'm like, whoa, what the, And then he goes again, bam, and I'm like, no, I look at the ref, and I'm like, this. He does it a third time, and Ludsey goes, fuck him, Trippy, go him. And I was like, yeah, you're right, because it was right. Like this guy's like, that's what needed to be done. He's challenging me, go. And I went, and it was Ludsey's voice that kind of like, like guided me. So I don't want anything wrong to come out of what that story I just told you. My coach did not send me out to fight. He was right. That guy was like challenging me, and I needed to stand my ground, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing bad happened. We both threw some punches. I did switch up to lefts at one point, which I was super proud. Thought I was like now the heavyweight of the league, and my fighter Wes Rippon was like, "Fucking calm down, Shrimpy."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see those lefts? But
Yeah.
after that year, the management sold again, and a new management came in, and it was just an absolute shit show. It was so weird what happened that year, and the way that they treated me and my family, and it was draft year and all these things, and it was so distracting. And then I got guidance to we should leave, demand a trade and leave. That was the guidance I got, and
That'll come your agent.
so
Okay.
we did. And, I remember to this day, Greg Gilbert called me in the office the day of the decision time of me leaving. And he's like, I know why. And I understand. I see what's going on. It's not right. But I just want to let you know, like, this is going to send up red flags. I'm like, thanks, coach. I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. Like, I hated doing it. Like, I love the room and the locker room and the guys. And I would never do that to my teammates, but I did. And I put a list together, and I chose London. So, I even have to give it to Mark Hunter. Sometimes he's always like lippy and chirpy about like what he did for me. And I'm like, no, dude, I picked you. Like, you got it wrong. You got it backwards. I had a list and I had a choice and I chose London. So
Mhm.
just don't ever.
Let me ask you about because there's a player that I always looked up to and admired was Patrick O'Sullivan. He was the first player that I played on a team with where I was like, he's on another level. Like we just missed each other because I came into Mississauga the year after you left.
Yeah.
What was your relationship with him? Because you guys were both sort of highly touted prospects, both Americans.
Yes, Sully was a complicated cat, to be honest with you. He had a lot in his personal life, and he's spoken openly about that. So it's not like I'm letting any cat out of the bag. So Sully was tough to get through to. Again, with his own personal stuff, and then on the hockey side of things, back then we had the pecking order, right? So he's a second year guy and playing that veteran role kind of thing. So he gave me a hard time for a while, but once we got to learn and respect each other, he kind of let his guard down a little bit, and I get it. And but that's on a personal level, and I told him how I felt after the end of the year, and I think we hashed it out and had a mutual respect for each other still due to this day. But as far as a hockey player, holy fuck,
Mhm.
that nasty, man. Like, I've never seen a release like that before. Like I say, Donnie Kernan and Patrick O'Sullivan are the two guys in this boat that are like, you can't duplicate that release. And when he got mad and wanted to score, he could score. He scored a goal one time in Kingston, a snapshot. He come through the neutral zone with no screen. There's not a guy. There's nobody hiding his release. He just got to the blue, like just outside the blue line, and he saw something, and he let this thing go. It hit the back of the net and came out before the goalie moved. The goalie never. And I'm not exaggerating. I was like, holy shit. Everybody was like, oh, what was that? Dude, he just stepped on it. And that's how much velocity he had. And I don't like the only thing you can duplicate that would be Stevie Wiseman's clapper back in like the 90s. Like that clapper that had that velocity on against St. Louis that went back bar bonk. Sully did that with like no wind up snapshot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
breakaways, he was money, come down to this little circle around, boom, low blocker every single time. Goalie knew it
Yeah.
was coming. Like all he needed was like that hole, and he'd
Yeah.
hit it. So for me, it's like as a hockey person, like from the hockey perspective, it was insane to watch him play. It really was. It was fun to watch, and I have nothing but respect for his hockey game, and I think he's given back now, being a skills coach. I think he's in Toronto, so
Yeah.
guys that are very fortunate because you can slap your name on. You can slap skills coach on your name all you want. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Ludsey because I guess I sort of like met you through Ludsey. I
Yeah.
was close with the Ludziks and still am, and you were you were held in high regard through them always. So I had just had this respect for you. But then you end up in London. I come into the OHL, and London this was the lockout year. So
Yeah.
London had a bunch of guys who probably would have been in the NHL or the American League. Um, yeah, and you guys were this monster of a team. Didn't lose a game. I know the connection's kind of wonky right now, but didn't lose a game. Um, we tied you around Christmas. We were the first team to tie you, and we celebrated like we won that year.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
hilarious.
what was that season like for you guys, and what was it like for you personally? Sort of like there's other really strong players on the team. Like, what was the team dynamic? Was there healthy competition? Was there a little bit of tension or friction? Like, how did you guys share the spotlight?
Yeah, I think it was a healthy competition. Um, that year, the Mem Cup year, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great group of guys. Fortunately or unfortunately for us, the year before we lost to Guelph in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, and that really matured a lot of us
Mhm.
because that was one of those things where on paper, we were better, and we let it slip through. So the next year when we came in, everybody showed up with this different gear, like this different motivation. And for me, my first year in London, I didn't have a good season with how it went. It was tough for me. It was like a lot of hard lessons from Dale. a lot of time on the bench, being a grocery. So I had that
Really?
personally. And then the other guys, the guys that played a lot in that last playoff were like, they were like, we had a Mem Cup caliber team and we let it slip. So everybody was motivated in that regard. And then we had like, there is that internal, I want to be the best guy, best player on the team. We had a guy like Corey Perry, guys like David Bolin. You go down the list, Danny Fritchie. Like we had sick players, and everybody wanted to be great. Not, I want you to suck and I want to be the best. It's like, no, you go ahead and do your thing, but I'm going to do my thing too. And that was super healthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't about like catch your guy out next to his legs and cut your guy's legs out next to you and then get. It was like, no, we all went. And we respected each other in that manner, and we were all driven for one goal, which was to win the Mem Cup and do it right. So It was awesome, man. That atmosphere was sick. Practice was sick. Like, dude, to try to score on the PK in practice, holy shit. Like Mark Mathot, Dan Girardi, Danny Sivret, like these guys that were on the PK and the forwards, like Danny Prusty and Trevor Cal, like all the Drew Larman. We had a whole bunch of names. Like practices were competitive, man. So
Yeah.
it was easy. Like, not many people have that kind of lineup, right? Some teams,
Oh yeah.
Chicago would have a Sully, like a top dog like Sully, right? You got to deal with Sully. But imagine dealing with us. You got Corey Perry, David Bolin, Rob Schremp, Danny Fritchie, do. Then you got Brian Rodney, Danny Sivret.
Yeah.
Like you got like 10 problems to deal with. And then you got fucking just shuts the door. Adam Dan, so dude, you talk about a lot. A lot of people was like cut the cord. It's hard to cut the cord because that was like the most unbelievable thing to be a part of. And if you could get that every year, that's the dream,
Yeah. So what about that second year, or not? I guess it's your second year. You're in London. Your first year in London. You're actually not playing that much. First time probably in your life.
Oh yeah.
You identified with the grocery stick. What was going on there? Like, how did you react to that? Were you visibly pouty? Were you victim, or were you mad? Like, when I get my chance, I'm gonna show them. Like, how did you handle that?
I was super frustrated. And also, like, for me, there was a lot going on. Like, it's draft year, like friction, like, Dale's a hard nosed coach. And I was like a wild, but I learned my lessons with Ludsey too. That was what was frustrating. I learned how to play the game with Ludsey. Like, it wasn't like I had free wheel there. I got benched sometimes there too when loosey goosey.
Hmm.
And that was, that's how you teach players. You take their ice time. Well, what else are you going to do? You're not going to beat them. Especially, what kind of punishment are you going to put? So it's like ice time. So I learned my lesson with Ludsey, but then when I got there, it was just, it was just a lot of friction. Probably personalities too. Like Dale was just kind of done playing in the show. And you know how it was back then. It was like those pecking order of like young guys shut up. And I was, again, cocky American. So I think there was friction there. And that's some of it was more about like personality, I think, than playing style. So that was frustrating. And then also at my end of my 16-year-old year, I came off of two really bad, two concussions, one really bad one. So I had a lot. And then I go into the beginning of the year and demanding a trade and going down to the U.S. National Development Team program. And when I'm down there, Hockey Canada called and said that if I played one game with the U.S. team, that I wouldn't be allowed back in the CHL ever again. So
What?
yes, so much going on. And I got to London and it was like, hey, you're not playing the right way, and benched, and it's like, holy fuck. But the draft year was like the worst year. It was so much. That's when the clouds, like, I was no longer on this fucking boat in the middle of this calm water, like happy. It was like, oh my God, there's a fucking hurricane and I don't have any cover. So I don't know how to answer. I'd probably answer your question a little bit long, a little bit deeper than I probably should or you wanted, but it was tough. Yeah, man. I mean, in the playoffs, I didn't play a lot either. Played like one shift a game in the final series. So it was like, it was pretty confusing too. Also, like, I'm not an idiot. It's my draft year. Like in the playoffs, you can see all the suits. You see all the scouts up there in one section. 5 minutes left in the third, they're all leaving, right? Everybody's there. You're like, it's like,
Yeah. So you okay. So you said cocky American. I didn't play on the team, so I don't know like your personality around this time or at the rink, but like you from the outside looking in, you were a personality. Like, and you could tell by the way you wore your gear, the way you skated, the way you celebrated, like
Honestly,
everything. It was just cool. Like I admire that. It's just cool. I admire it because I was always a player. I didn't want to ruffle any feathers in that way because I always felt like I was a bubble guy at every single level. I was like, I don't want them to have anything to hold against me. I
yeah,
love white skates. I'm not going to wear white skates because at that time in hockey, if you wore white skates, you better be good. You're rocking white skates with no fear. You got the jersey tuck, you got the Lindstrom square toe curve tape got the white mouth guard, like all the things, like the junior swag, the lace from the pants. Like it seems like you were never afraid to be yourself, like no matter what, you were just Rob Schremp. You did your thing and you backed up like the chirps and all this stuff. Like, where does that come from? Did you have anyone advising you like, hey, you need to tone it down, or hey man, forget them, just be yourself, Rob, just keep going?
no, I had a lot of friction. And it was a lot of like negative challenging. You know what I mean? Like that was even my first year going, my second year in the league, going back to Mississauga. First thing the GM did there was like challenge me and like called me a punk and was like, "You're gonna do what I tell you." Like it was like, what?
Mm,
First of all, if Ludsey said you're gonna do, I would have, yes, sir, because he
yeah.
earned that. Like we had a mutual respect for each other, and that's not to say that Ludsey owed me anything, but we built that trust together. The new guy came in and was like, I was like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, that's Ken Cook. He came in, right? GM.
Like, who the fuck are you? Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not gonna tell me what to like. You could approach this way differently. Like, then you could say, well, you were 17, you should. No, no, it's a two-way fucking street, man. Give and take. Yeah, okay, I can tone it down, but I would never go to an adult and speak the way he spoke to me. And just because he's an adult, he can now speak to me that way. And why? Well, if you're gonna say, well, I'm managed, well, I'm first overall. So you want to do title thing? Like this, you know what I mean? It's not about title. It's about mutual respect. So for me, I just meet everything that way. Like growing up, like we've been in some tough situations growing up in the sense of how we grew up, and those are tough things. Um, Wearing my stuff the way I like, the way it felt good, looked good, and dance and perform. Like I wanted to be Michael Jordan of hockey. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the level of entertainment of dunking from the free throw line with your tongue out, boom, and it's like your 50th point of the game. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't just to go out there, and it wasn't a freaking fashion show, but there is, it's all encompassing. It's an entertainment business. So being a person out in that surface that sticks out, produces, helps the team win, is in your face competitive. That's who I was. And that's when you talk about teammates, like that's who I was. And that's, Patrick Kane gave me sort of a recommendation thing for my, video website. And that's exactly what he said. He had a, flair for the dramatic, knew how to play the game the right way. He knew what showtime meant, which meant everything. It felt so good that he saw me the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And some people didn't see me the right way. They saw me differently. Like that fucking punk. We're going to get him to tone it down. Right. And I was like, why? I'm not doing anything. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. And that's why I say like you were ahead of your time, because if you came along now, like you would be, the Instagram and Twitter and all this crap would be blown up, just because that you're allowed to express yourself more today than in our generation. It was more of like the old boy traditional club back then. But what you're saying, it resonates with me because I was one of the observers. I was on the ice competing against you. Like there was not only like an aura to the Knights at this time, but there was an aura to you. You were the ringleader, after, these guys left. And then it was like you were the primary star of that show. Like I remember vividly you guys coming into Mississauga in the Hershey Center. And then here comes Rob Schremp, crosses the red line. I'm pretty sure I was on the ice for this. And you start your wind up for a clapper on a 1-on-2. Soon as your skates cross the red line and you let it go above the blue line, top shelf.
Yeah.
Like just to have the audacity to even attempt that and think and believe you're going to score. Like the range of your shot was crazy. Like thinking you have a legitimate chance to score, and you obviously did because you roofed it. You know, like this is a big deal. You know, that's when I was like, you know, like what can you say? This guy's a star. You
The
know,
best,
this guy's a star.
the best part of that one too was that fucking Swifty, little Swifty, wouldn't shut his mouth, and he chirped me right before that. You remember Swift?
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, you guys got out to a good start. You know, at the end of the day, too, back then, I remember.
But you remember this goal I'm talking about?
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I probably saw Stevie Y do it with the Detroit Red. I love that shot, using the D's shin pads as it hide the release, and the goalie's got no chance to see it. And if you can just be accurate with it, he's not going to be able to pick it up. It's coming 90-something miles an hour. He's not going to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Target, you know, that's the thing. You got to make the read. But again, thank you, Stevie Y, for showing me that. He didn't show it to me personally. I just saw it, you know, whatever. But I remember Swifty just running his mouth. You guys came out hot, and you were up like 2-0 real quick. And then he's like, "NHL Schremp it," you know, had to come at me for whatever reason, right? Like, I'm not even like, I'll be honest with you. That day, I was dating a girl at the time. She left to go to Australia. I was really depressed and sad and down, and I didn't feel like playing hockey that day. And Swifty fucking chirped, and it woke me. I'm like, "You little shit!" And then I got that puck. Boom, clapper. And then I came out the next shift. I scored another one. I went right by your bench, and I'm like, how you like that one? I had a clapper. Another one I had opened up at the blue line, the clapper from the blue line, low blocker on Chansey, I think. And I just remember thinking, like, you should have just shut your mouth, dude. Like, I would have slept the whole game, because all I was thinking about was, I'm going to miss my girlfriend, and how are we going to do this long distance, and do. And then here comes Swifty. Go by the bench.
Yeah, that was a big year for you. And yeah, shout out to Mike Swift. We played 3 years in Mississauga, and yeah, he was a good player. He was a good player. He knew how to score. But that year you have an absolute monster season. I think it was 57 goals in 57 games, if I'm not mistaken. I checked Elite Prospects. My memory's not too great. But anyways, it was a monster season. Did you sign that season during the season or before?
Yeah, right before. So I was like I was the last cut at camp in Edmonton, and it was like one of those slap and tickle scenarios where I got called into Kevin Lowe's office at his house. We were there for like a Sunday football thing or something as a team, and he's like, "I got to see you in my office." He calls me office. He goes, "Well, we're gonna send you down, but we're gonna sign you to your elite level contract." And I lit up. I was like, because. Yeah, that first part hurt, but it's slap and tickle. And the tickle was like, oh man, I finally got money. Like, coming from no money, like hearing and those are the old days, like that, you know, the cap is, I didn't get $1.2 million signing bonus, but that's what it was. So it's in your head, like, oh my God, I'm an instant millionaire. Right. And I remember, like, I was like, I didn't know how to take this. I started smiling. He's like, you happy about that? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to leave, but I at least got, Jesus, man, it's a lot in one sentence, buddy. Yeah. You separate him a little bit better. Like, yeah, you know, we're going to send you down because we don't think you're ready and do. But, you know, but it was like, we're going to send you down, but we're signing you. And so anyways, yeah, I signed, and that was helpful. And when I went down, I had a really good camp that year. Like, the newspapers were writing about me, and like, you know, how could he not be on the team, and do. You really got that in my, like, bought into that. And I thought I was on the team, and I got, you know, I didn't make the team, and that was devastating for me. Cause I didn't really understand it. Like, what else I would have been able to do. I thought I played really good. And again, media starts talking about it. There's, you know, they're kind of on your side, and it's like, then I got cut. So I went down to London that year, like, really pissed, like, mad, like, I don't belong here. I shouldn't be here, and I'm going to prove it. And, you know, I think I did a pretty good job. Like, the first 10 games, I had 54 points. And then I had 100 points in 37 games. So I came out like, really, why am I here? So I was determined, and that's, you know, it's a good message. Like, I have a lot to talk about, but I also have a lot to give back to people, in the sense, like, you know, I can teach a lot. Like, I've been through a lot, and I could have gone down to London and pouted like a little baby, or I used it like I did. I put it as gas in my, and sometimes with players, like they get their sort of cliche advice from their parents and stuff like that. Some of my stuff might be cliche, but I went through it. It's like, use this the right way. I promise you it'll work. When your dad says it to you, they're like, yeah, whatever, dad. When I'm telling it to you, I'm like, go elite prospects me, but I'm just telling you, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you use it for fuel. Like, get mad, use it the right way. Don't pout. Like you asked earlier, did you pout about it or did you get mad about it? I got mad about things and then I put it in my engine, I would go. And towards the end of my career, I didn't. And that's something I'm not proud of, but it's, eventually you get worn down when you're continuously having to do that. But in the beginning, my younger years, I was really good at doing that. Like, okay, you want to challenge me? I'll rise to the occasion and I'll never back down from it. And I'm going to use shit you're giving me as fuel.
One thing I'm struggling to understand, especially after hearing this, it's like you're drafted first round to this team and they send you down, but it's like they don't really communicate to you like, hey, we're really happy with you in your progress. We're really excited about your development. The reason you're not here is because we just want you to grow a little bit. It's nothing you've done. There's no rush. You're a seed. We just want to make sure that you grow at a good pace and you're not getting thrown into the fire. Go down there, have fun. We're signing you. Just be patient. You're going to be here. We just want you to work hard, have a good attitude, lead the young guys, stay out of trouble. Like they could have communicated this to you. And then it's like, okay, perfect. I'm going to go down there. And then they check in on you. And then they actually have a sports psychologist who they've hired for you because you're their seedling, their first round pick. They want you to lead their team one day. They should be nurturing. But I feel like in the hockey world, the communication is just so broken. It's like, we're sending you down. Yeah, we'll see you next camp kind of thing. And then you're just left confused and wondering, like, what is up with that in hockey?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is an inside story in how I've come to understand it. But, at my draft pick number, there was a timeout at the draft. And usually when that happens, there's a trade to be announced, and that happened at my pick. And it's maybe a long story. I'll try to keep it short. But when that happened, there's just some commotion down at the Oilers table and this, that, and the other. And then eventually they go up and the head scout goes and calls my name. We'd like to announce we're picking Rob Schremp. And, you come to find out like many years later that there was a big argument going back and forth about that pick and me being that pick. And the coach didn't want me and the head scout wanted me. So, that's how I was told the story. And that made a lot of sense. Cause when I showed up there right away, it was like, whoa, even in the box after in the draft, like we went up in the box and I remember talking to Kevin Lowe and the coach came by and Kevin Lowe had to be like, hey, say hi to the Shrimp family. And it was like forced. And my dad was like, oh, fuck, this is bad. I was like, yeah. And then that's how it went. And if you look at it, I played 7 games as a first rounder and like, I don't know, whatever that is, 5 years, 3 years, technically a pro. 3 years of pro, I played 7 games. I mean, there was like 4th, 5th rounders that played in those 3 years, played like 200 games. So it all made sense when I heard that story because I didn't understand in the beginning. And even, like my 3rd year there in the organization with what you're talking about, no communication of like what the plan was. Played 4 games. I put up 3 points. I got first star down in LA. So I had a good game. I had 2 good games and 2 average games. I'll say that. And after that, I got sent down because I knew that in that time, there was decent communication. Like, hey, you're here for 2 weeks because Nielsen's hurt. So you get in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, cool. At least I know. This is the first time I know what the plan is. So I'm like, this is okay. I know what I got to do, and I can kind of set some targets. Let's go play good hockey. In the bad games I played, the bad game I played was San Jose. They were a fucking wagon, Jordy. Like, wagon. They pounded us. And it was like I was a squirt hockey player out with the midget major team. That's how it felt. Like they were just Joe Thornton just hitting seams and shit. It was like, that was the one time I was like, yeah, I don't belong here. But nobody did. We got outshot like 65-17. We ended up winning in overtime somehow. But anyways,
wait, let's go back for a second. So you finished that monster year in the O, then you're in Edmonton. You're split, right? You played a few games, which you're describing. When did you get the first game When did that happen?
First game, my first year pro. We had a split minor league team with the Wilkes-Barre Penguins.
Mm.
So we played, yeah, half of us were Oilers prospects and half of us were Pittsburgh Penguins prospects.
So you started in the A that year?
I started in the A, yeah. And that's, the other things too is like, yeah, we started there and it was great. Like we had good chemistry. We had a good team down there. But it was tough though, to be honest with you. Like it was like we had a really good crash and bang, dump and chase style hockey team. Like it worked. We had Jonathan Filowitz, Ryan Stone, Dan Carcillo, Steven Dixon. Like you go down the list. We had some awesome guys at doing that. And then there's this like really skilled first round guy wearing white skates trying to play a skill game somewhere. I couldn't find it.
You lit it up there. You produced. Like it seemed like you did your job.
Well, in the beginning, I didn't, and that's why, like, even Todd Richards is healthy scratching me. I remember the first time I got healthy scratch, I never even heard of a healthy scratch before. I didn't even know what the hell it was, and I got one. So I'm like pissed and upset and upset, but like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, you get healthy scratch, like, so I just do the normal day thing, go to lunch with the guys, and then come at the same time as everybody comes. And then when they're getting ready, I just went up in the stands, and then after that, I get called in and I'm in trouble. What the fuck you do? Like, what, you didn't ride the bike? I'm like, well, you didn't work out. I'm like, they're just peppering me. Dan Bylsma. I'm like, guys, I don't know the protocol for healthy scratch. I'm sorry. Like, next time, give me the fucking memo. Like, tell me, I'll do it. I just didn't know what I had to do. I just tried to spend the day out of the way of everybody. Like, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah,
it got off a little bit, but I was like, whoa, man. So it was tough in the beginning. Like, they were hard on me, and I didn't find my niche. And then we traded for Robert Nielsen and everything switched, bro. Like me and him were like hand in glove, dude. We just tore it up and we had such a good chemistry on and off the ice. We, just one of those things, one of those bromances, dude. You just hit it off with a dude and he respects everything about you. You respect everything about him. And you didn't get on the ice. You're always making plays together and we lit it up. And that turned my whole season around. So that made a big difference for me. And frustrating thing is then going there the next year to the training camp, we're split up. And I was just kind of like, did nobody fucking watch at all us play in the minors together? Like, what's the point of that system?
Yeah.
And now you think it's not going to work here. So then how bad are you guys saying that the AHL is then? If you think, well, it's not going to work here. We just lit up the AHL. And now we're not. Now you got Robert on the third line and me on the fourth line. Okay, that makes sense. And that it was frustrating, dude. Like, and it just again goes back to the beginning of the story. I should have never gone drafted there. And so, anyways, that's a lot of deep stuff. I don't know how deep you want.
No, go deep. I like it. One thing I'm interested to hear too, because looking back, at your resume, like you produced everywhere, but to me, what sticks out, like it seems you turned into predominantly a playmaker when you went pro. Yeah. Your goal scoring numbers are lower than your assists. Like what happened, or like what was your psychology around that? Were you shooting less? Were you getting less scoring chances? And your numbers were always very high, but you had a lot of assists. Like, was that a conscious thing? Were you always more of a playmaker, or did you just shoot less?
No, it's just one of those, in the beginning of that Wilkes-Barre years, like, the plays I saw the year before, like, for me, it's the same shape. The rink is the same shape and the net is in the same place. So, why is this comment made? Like, well, you can't do it here. Yeah, I can. Like, so it's like when they're trying to set up a play, this isn't a junior play. This is a hockey play. So like a lot of those got diminished. Like the D would grab it and just fire it at the net, even though I'd be sitting in my spot for the 1T. Where I buried a whole bunch the year before. Why can't I hit the net this year? Because it's the AHL now? What are you talking about? It's the same shape, bro. I didn't lose my accuracy over the summer. It only got better. But that was it. So it's kind of had to like mold, and it's just, you can only stand stubborn so long. In the beginning, I stood, so I'm like, and then even the coaches had some comments like, Rob's got to get his junior habits out of him. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll get my junior habits out, which, I know it's junior, but again, it's the same net. I can fill it here, there, wherever you want me to. But sure, I'll play crash and bang. And then we got Nielsen and it turned into like, bam, like, he started hitting me in those spots with the right pace on the pass, on the right foot in the wheelhouse. All those little things add up. If you go from getting a guy like, Danny Savret and guys like this, that when they pass it to you, it is in the wheelhouse and it is with the right pace. And all you got to do is do your job. That's great. And then you get to the guy that gives it and he fucking fires it at you in the back foot. And you're like, dude, we just missed the chance to score this goal because you got it. You know, you should, by the time you're like 12, you should be able to be precise with passing. And also to that point, if I say to you, like, hey, I like it here, then you work on getting it there, right? Like it's not rocket science, and that's how it went. You know, I just felt like, I was like, all right, I guess I got to be a disher now. I love scoring goals, but fuck, like if we can't all just, you know what I mean? Like someone's going to have to set the table because somebody else doesn't know how to set the table. So I'll set the table. You know, I'd love to just, you know, stand. I was in the Ovi spot before Ovi.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just being honest. Like, and you remember in London, I stood on that spot and I could rip fucking bombs and be really accurate with it. So, and Stamkos, even I got credit from him after, like he did some YouTube thing. It was pretty cool. Actually, he's like, I'll watch Rob Schremp, and, you know, coincidentally, he's on that other side where Ovi is too. And he figured out that spot. It was a great spot. But when you stand there for a while and you're never getting good passes, and it's, you know, then you got to adjust. So I adjusted, and I have the ability to see the ice both ways, you know, the net and also setting people up for the net. And I just kind of got in that groove of dishing the puck.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's really interesting, like hearing your psychology around the offensive side of the game and just like how detailed it actually is that fans don't see, and players who don't have this mindset, they don't like recognize, you know, where the placement of the pass is, the pace of the pass, like all of these things, they do matter. But yeah, players who aren't in that position, that aren't like power play specialists or offensive specialists, they're not really like thinking about that, you know?
And
So it's just cool.
they do random shit, you know, and then when you're like, hey man, like, you know, that turns into like an ego battle, right? And back in those times, if like 20-year-old first rounders talking to a 30-year-old, like, hey man, like, and it's not disrespect. It's like, you're so passionate about and you know what you know. It's like, fuck, what do you want me to do then? I just have to shut up, like, because I'm 20. It's not about that. It's like, I want to win. I want to score. I'm not challenging you as a man. But when you take the puck and fucking skate it into the corner like an idiot, and just turn this into a battle when we could have created a window here and like peppered the goalie, how do I not react? And I had a hard time emotionally like that, not overreacting, and like, because it meant a lot to me. And it's also important, like for me, like this is all I have. So it's like, it really matters to me. And I had a hard time with like, you know, probably like my approach, but like internally, that's what it was. It's like, this is my fucking ride. Like, and if we just keep hammering in the corner, I'm going to get replaced. You don't need me. You can replace me with anybody.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's the thing. It's like, I'm very passionate and very competitive. So it's like, in trying to angle guys the right way, it takes a certain type of communication. You know, but you got to have that, like, when Nielsen came, dude, it just switched, bro. Like there wasn't even a conversation. Like it was just like, oh, you're sick. Oh, you're sick. Okay, let's be sick together.
Mhm.
So fun.
So you played 2 years in the American League. You
Three.
it's 3, and then you finally got that first full. So you played out your entry level, and then did you sign as a free agent then in New York?
No, they qualified me in Edmonton and then put me on waivers out of training camp.
And then you got picked up.
So I got cut for like the 4th year in a row.
Okay, but then it was the birth. See, you got cut, but it was the birth of your first full NHL season.
Oh yeah, that was huge.
Right? So what was that like? And like, when did you finally feel like, okay, I'm an NHL player. I'm not going to be down. Like I have a role on this team. Did you feel that happening? Did you get just more opportunity, more responsibility? Like, how did that all unfold for you?
Should I tell? Do you want me to tell the story?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, and that's okay because he's So the year before for 2 years before I was in Springfield, and I don't know if you played. Did you play in Springfield?
I think no, I was in Hartford, so I think we played against each other for
Yeah,
one season,
you know.
or I was actually 2 seasons. Yeah, we played
Yeah,
against each other.
remember that. So you remember how many times we played each other?
A lot. Hartford, Springy. I don't
Uh,
remember the exact number, but same division. We played a
12,
lot.
12
It was
times.
12. Okay. See, you're the hockey mind, eh? You know the details.
I'm very in tune. People don't know that, but I'm very in tune. I had a guy down in Houston. I grew up saying when I was like 11, 12, he was playing with that Syracuse team, Tommy McNeil, and he wore number 14, right-handed, 50-30, Sherwood 50-30 featherlight stick with the coffee curve. I pulled it out on him like 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen him in 27 years. He was like, how the fuck did you remember that? And I'm like, I don't know, man. This is like
Yeah,
shit.
I love that. It just shows like you've been dedicated to this craft. Like this is everything for you.
So anyways, back to the story, but Providence, right? Played him 12 times a year. So Scott Gordon coached Providence for those times. And, the one year I was an all-star, the second year I sucked. Unfortunately, my game went down and confidence went down and it was a really tough year. But anyways, still a leading point guy. He's now coaching the Islanders. So I played against him for 2 years, right? Like 12 to 24 times. I got picked up by the Islanders to go in the office to, you got to go meet coach. Go in there and he's like, Rob, is it? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What position you play? I was like, well, and I'm like, I had him like, huh. I'm like, well, yeah, I like grew up playing center like my whole life. I played 1 year in the minors, like on the wing. It was tough. Like, oh, okay. What wing would you play if you had to choose wing? I'm like, well, went all into it. Like I tried the left side. It's tough because my stick's on the outside. It broke it all down, right? And you go into the middle, you're on your backhand and you're kind of jammed on the right side. You can come off the wall, boom, boom, boom. I was, okay. Coming the next day, I'm on the fourth line on the left wing. I was like, oh, fuck. Because I was excited to your point. I remember driving in my car, getting to New York, and that song, Jay-Z and
yeah, New York.
dude,
Yeah,
blasting it. I had such a fucking vibe, and I was like, oh my god, this feels so good. I'm free. Like this is amazing. And then their day one is like this, and I was like, oh fuck. So I played like 4 games on the fourth line, and I didn't do well on left wing. I just felt jammed up. I'm a really creative player. Like I need that middle of the ice to also not the fastest guy. So I use my kind of lack of skating to create lanes and move the chess pieces to create shit. When you're one chess piece, you can only go up. You're stuck. Like you're the queen. You can fucking bomb around everywhere, and then you set up shit. So I just had a hard time there. And honestly, being on the fourth line, you have a very limited leash. So I had to, after 4 games, they're like, hey, okay, we get it. You're clearly not a wing. You're going to have to wait for, someone to play themselves out of the lineup or, someone gets hurt. I'm like, all right. So I want to be in like a healthy scratch for like 18 games straight. And in that time, I found myself because, understood my internal feelings and competitiveness, but also understood like, okay, I'm not down in the minors. This is an opportunity. And I just made a conscious thing to be a fucking good teammate. That's all it mattered. It didn't, because there's none of my control. Being a dickhead or pouting or challenging everybody to try to get in the lineup wasn't going to do it. It's going to take an injury or somebody else playing themselves out of the lineup.
How did you arrive here? Because this is very important that you had a realization or insight. I only control certain things. I'm only going to focus on those, and I'm just going to be ready for my time. Any mentors, teammates, veterans, or was it just the divine saying, hey, Rob, that light bulb moment for you?
It was just, I just realized it, and I just realized, okay, these are a bunch of good guys. They treated me good. Andy Sutton really made me feel good. There was some duff. Like I got bag skated every fucking day. Like bag skated. I'm not saying I had to go and do a little extra. I got bagged. So it was tough. And then Sutsy was awesome for me. I think I want to give credit for him because he made me, he just recognized me and he saw me. And he just knew I was a good dude and he treated me good. And that picked my spirits up. And then I started playing ping pong with like Mark Streit and Kyle Post and all these guys after me just for boys, and hanging out with Bruno Gervais was a really good guy. The way they treated me, actually, to be honest with you, it felt good. Like they were, so I have no reason like to be a negative when they're like that. Like I felt like a brother, you know what I mean? So it's like, I would never bring that shitty thing to those brothers. Like the shitty thing being me out of the lineup. That's selfish, right? And I just was like, let's just be a good guy. Like, I focused on being really good at ping pong. I focused on working on my shootouts and practice and making sure my shit was ready. And then when I got in, everybody was so pumped for me. They were pulling for me. And it wasn't like, because if I would have pouted that whole time and been a negative Nancy, like, then if everybody kind of would turn on you. They're like, fucking here's this guy complaining. I don't care. I got to play. I didn't want to be that guy. So I never was. It just made people laugh. I kept it light. Did what I could to be a good teammate. And then again, when I got in, it was pretty cool. Like my first goal. I got to jump in Mark Strite's hand. Everybody was so pumped, like genuinely happy for me. And I scored a sick goal in Colorado with a baseball goal. Everybody was stoked, like,
Yeah, I remember that one.
which felt good. And it's obviously I'm really happy with how I matured in that moment of challenge, being healthy, scratched, and on the outside, because that could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that the baseball goal that made it onto TS. That I mean, that's still a goal that gets played in the rotation. Um, yeah, I want to hear a little bit more about or just a little bit about the experience of being an NHL player during this time. So you're out of junior, you went no visor. Like, how did you make that decision? You were wearing an Easton shell. Like, how do you arrive at Easton? Did you have companies approaching you saying, "Hey, where are my bucket? Where are sticks? Whatever." You stuck with graph skates and you still wrote out graphs to this day. Like, what was your thought process? Because I know you were always into like gear and all those types of things.
I am in Bauer now. I just got sponsored by Bauer, so I'm moving over. I'm waiting for the.
Skates too?
I told the
Hmm.
guy on the team that I'm in second in line behind Hughes, so they got to take care of Hughes first, and then mine are on the way.
Yeah.
The no visor. I'm a centerman, so the visor drove me nuts on taking faceoffs. Every time you put your head down, you get a freaking windshield wipe. You get a windshield full of rain. You got no windshield wiper. You just
Mhm.
sit and I'm a big vision guy, and that's very important for me to be able to see, because I use a lot of peripheral and a lot of vision, and I need to be able to see when I go to the left knowing this, and I need to see what's in the right, and there's just like freaking sweat and it's blurry. That's a problem. So I'm like, screw it. In junior, when you get to a little bit older, you get to tilt your visor up, and some guys do it for style. It's never about style. It's I need to see, and
Yeah.
I vision to calculate and see things. Like, you're doing that math while things are going on, and you got to have that vision so you can see colors, you can see movement and what's what. And maybe you're looking left and you see your guy gets a little step over there, you're like, oh, we can place that puck. Like, all that calculates. So the visor thing, you're taking a lot of draws, dude. Even as a third line center, fourth line center, you're still taking 12 to 15 maybe draws. So it's just one of those things. I was like, screw it, I don't, whatever. And that was also like not abnormal to do. A lot of guys were not wearing it,
Mhm.
more were probably not wearing it. It started to change, right? 2009-ish started to change. Guys were like, yeah, screw it, just keep it on.
Mhm.
It was nothing about, it was more about objectiveness for me. It's just that, again, as a centerman, it drove me nuts to have to keep wiping my freaking half shield off. And I couldn't
Okay.
do it. In the middle of a shift, you're just kind of handcuffed, right? If you don't, it's
Okay. You were wearing Warrior gloves. You stuck with East. Did you? No, in junior you were Bauer for your stick, right? Your vapor. But in London you guys could use anything. So I think some of you guys had. I remember the green synergies were around that time, the yellow ones. So stick choice, you could pretty much pick anything in the NHL. How did you make that choice?
I rock Bauer. Actually, there's one picture of me in the NHL. I think it's even a card. It was like the only game I used at Easton for that.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's another one. Like, I used white tape one time in my career, literally once, and it's a hockey card.
Okay. So that's why I have white tape in my head when I think of you.
Atlanta,
Probably.
yeah, in Atlanta. It was in Atlanta. I'm wearing the 13, rocking the freaking yellow laces and everything. I got the whole look going, and there's white tape on. That's the only game ever in my career I used white tape.
Huh.
So I hated white tape, but the boys were chirping and wanted me to give it a try, so I did. Yeah, and then the Warrior gloves were money. I'm a feel guy, so it was all about the palms. And when they sent those, the palms felt money. I don't care about the upper part. The cuffs I can always cut out. I always cut out the shit in the inside, and I cut the thumb so you have the thumb movement. I don't understand how guys don't. Keeping your thumb locked, like cutting that thumb thing. And once you break your thumb, well, it would take a special freaking movement for that thumb to get broken, in my opinion. Knock on wood. Now I'm probably going to break my thumb next senior A game. But for me, it's like the upside is like, for me to be able to feel free and feel my hands the whole game versus like maybe once a year, I get a thumb jammed. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Comes with the, risk and reward, I guess. But the shell felt really good and it looked good because I wore the, what do you call the girdle?
Yeah.
And some things don't fit right with the shells. You know what I mean? Sometimes you put a shell on, it looks like you got basketball shorts on.
Yeah.
So it's all about how that like kind of molds around that girdle, and that one fit really nice. So that's how I
Yeah.
got.
Were they giving you money or anything like Easton to wear Shell or use
Bauer gave
Power?
10 grand. It was like 5 grand for Lululemon, 5 grand for the Nike store. So I mean, again, like that, I literally used the Easton for one game. I think it's a picture on the internet. I think I
Yeah,
might have it on
yeah.
my.
I have it here. I'm looking at it. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got the Bauer 4000 helmet. You get Warrior gloves, Easton Shell. Yeah, and the Bauer S19 stick, but you do have black tape on it. And you
yeah,
stuck with the Lindstrom. Do you still use that today? The Lindstrom curve? Have you tried like the new curve everyone's using, like the P28, I think? You know, like the new style of shot everyone has, like it's like the toe.
yeah.
Have you
Um,
tried it?
I have one now too. Like Bauer just sent me stock stuff for now until I can get my custom stuff made. Um, and I get it. And then the thing is, I teach a lot of shooting lessons, and I'm like a huge guy of like technique before technology. So when you shoot with technology, or when you shoot with technique, you can shoot with any stick. Like, do I love this curve? No, not at all. But I can still place it and everything because my mechanics are the same. And what I found with this new technology is guys' mechanics have gone right to the shit, and they're shooting with their hands up by their chest, basically at like chest length, and hands high, shaft high, and it feels real good. But it's not objective because it's insanely hard to be consistent and accurate with this type of shooting. So
Yeah.
this new curve, I get it, and I know the feeling. Like that's what I tell them. I know what it feels like. It feels money, but when you're fucking painting the glass, you don't get anything for painting the glass. You're not glass painters. We want to go. Music you want to hear is posting in, barn in,
Yeah.
not glass. So, whoa, that was hard. Great. What do you get? Mom and dad are like, you're really shooting hard. Who cares? Like you did hit the net. 10 pucks, you should hit the net once. Like you shoot mechanics and technique, and you can
Yeah.
and over again, and you can grab. I hate the rounded toe fucking P28. I don't like it at all. It's not my curve. Like I know I got a very specific place on that Lindstrom where I like to release from. That being said, I can grab pretty much any stick and shoot.
Do you practice different styles of shots? So there's like, I guess when we were entering the O, it was like maybe the wrist shot, traditional wrist shot was just like leaving because one pieces and the composite sticks were coming online. Then the snapshot was born, and now there's, sort of like that upper hand out at the chest, sort of newer off the toe style shot, like the Bedard release. Do you teach all the different versions of shooting? Do you find value in having like a deep? Because I know you like golf. Having a very different shots. It's like having different clubs in your bag for different situations. Are you on board with that philosophy, or do you just stick to one style of shot?
No, I think it's. I mean, there's different scenarios that call for different releases, and having the releases is important. Understanding when to use them. And now, just we get to the information stuff going out now with Instagram. We're getting way more information than we ever got. Right? Like for us as our age group, like you, we had to go to like some kind of cool camp, right? Like go to the right camp in the summer to get some information from somewhere new.
Hmm.
Think about when we were kids, man. Like where was the information coming from? And I can't speak for you, but I had Don Kerner, which I was fortunate. Um, Great mentor, great. He knew a lot about hockey, a lot about scoring, a lot about offense. His son knew how to shoot, so that was helpful. But that was my one resource. Now you got Instagram, you got and everybody wants to do the Bedard release, Bedsy release, and I just talked to him like, guys. First of all, a couple things. How he shoots, you're not going to get there. I'm just telling you. And they're all kids are on YouTube and they're trying to emulate the same mechanics of it. I'm like, and there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, like there's a variable that he broke his fucking wrist when he was like 10 or 11, and that changes shit. Changes the formation of your body. It does. And you learn how to do certain things and change where your pressure points go on the stick. And there's different things that happen. Kaner had the same thing. He broke his wrist and he played through it, but he's like, his backhand's fucking crazy because he had to learn how to do this.
Hmm.
So it's like some variables you have to understand. And the other thing is like Bedsy uses this long kind of whippy stick, but that whippy stick is money to what he likes. When you were 11 years old and you go in and you grab one and it's like, oh, it's kind of there. Then you grab the next one and like, oh, it doesn't feel like this at all. And then the third one's not even close either. Maybe the curve's off. Like all those are variables. Like his come in, he gets 70 sticks. He grabs maybe 10 of them. 60 of them go out the door because they're shit. They're not the right flex. They're not the right anything. And it's like, it feels terrible. So, that's a big variable. If you're going to use those mechanics and you don't have the right weapon every time, like he does, good luck,
Hmm.
right? Good luck. because I'm someone that can shoot it pretty good. And if that variable's off for me, I'm fucked. Like if I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like if it's supposed to be an 85 flex and it comes 62 flex, right? Those little things when you're 12, 13 years old, like, those matter.
Yeah.
So again, like the new styles, like we have to understand them. You have to understand them fully if you're going to integrate them. And the other thing is that these guys that we see in the show, we're not like, they didn't do that at 12. This is all like their tier up of learning the game, learning new things, and like honing their craft and figuring out what works. Like Jack Eichel can stand straight up, keep his hands around his hip band, and then pull and shoot. When you're 10 years old and try to do that, it is the biggest muffin ever. You need to shoot with like, oh, Eichel's that. I don't care. You're not Eichel, bro. You're not Eichel. Like you got to get to that process of crawl, walk, run of like learning shooting mechanics. And then, yeah, when you get like a little bit older, you can craft your shot and it's just got to be effective. It's if you can hit spots consistently and accurately and burn the goalie with however you do that. It's not to say you have to do it like I do it. You just got to understand this shit. And a lot of it does come when you watch the goals that are scored with shooting. It's weight transfer. They use their legs. They don't stand straight up and just use that little 60 flex pea shooter and flex it into the net. It's like mechanics. So I get passionate about that shooting. I'm probably going way too far with this, but
yeah, no, it's interesting because I'm working with kids now and they're around that age, 9, 10, 11, and their shots are like U's, right? They can, if they're past the face-off dots, they can't get there in a straight line, right? It's sort of like a rainbow shape. But yeah, I agree fully that the techniques are the foundation to everything,
yeah.
But let's go back to your hockey journey. So you play 2 full seasons in the Isle. You're doing good, but then somehow you end up in Atlanta before, they left. What was that like transition there?
It was confusing. I thought I did really well in Long Island, especially for, kind of whatever, like kind of not playing a big role per se. Like, with limited role, I did really well. Half a point a game and was really good in the shootouts. It was kind of confusing. I got put on waivers. So I liked it there. I liked the group of guys and we really got along well. And, that was a big shock. But again, if I looked at it, Josh Bailey was a really young guy and they needed him to get seasoned and play. And I kind of took that role, like I don't want to talk down about Josh. I love the guy. I loved him and his family. We had a great relationship. So, but I was better than him at that time. It's just, I'm not a draft pick. I'm not value. He's their first round draft pick. And I think Garth's first round draft pick. So there's way more emphasis for him. I'm very replaceable. So I understood it too. It just sucked. And then, going down to Atlanta was awesome. Like got there, obviously checking the roster. I was sick, man. Like we had such a good team. It's like, holy shit, this is a wagon, man. We had Buff, Ladd, Wheeler. I can go all day. Ron Hainsey, Johnny Adulia, Pavlik, and Nat. I'm like, fuck, we might make playoffs. Like, I love playoffs, and my stats indicate that. I always had good numbers, and actually held the London Knights record. I didn't know that until last year. Cowan broke it, but I had it for a long time. But yeah, we were close to playoffs. But then down in Atlanta, it was a tough place to play. Like home games were not home games. We had like 4,000 fans in the building. And at that moment, like when I got there in like February, that was the time when, teams were gearing up towards that. And those games really matter. It was 4-point swings and this and that. Right. And the teams that were ahead of us, when they're at their home games, like those fans are in it. You come to Atlanta for the home game, it's like dressed like a seat night. And I had urgency for sure, because I was fighting for my job and fighting for my life. But, some of these guys on 5-year deals, I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying it's hard to be up. They came from Chicago, where it's like fucking Madhouse was nasty. They're winning cups, and it's like that energy at home. And then you're at this game, and it's like, they say tonight's attendance is 8,700, and you look around, you're like, dude, there's like 3,000 people here. Like, there's no way there's 8,000 people here.
Yeah.
Anyways, when I got there, we were 2 points out of playoffs, and same thing there, though. When I got there, it was like I had to earn it again. It just kept getting reset, man. Like I got there and I was on the 4th line. I love these guys, so don't get me wrong. And if they hear this, I'm not chirping it, but I think they would agree I didn't belong on the line. With Eric Bolton and Chris Thorburn. When we were that first month that I was there, it was like that was my line. Those guys are really tough guys, and a lot of their time spent looking to enforce physicality on the other team and pick fights. And I'm out there in white wheels trying to dangle and throw sauce. It's just,
Mhm.
it's lamb and tuna fish put together. So
Yeah, like, I'm wondering, so just was there ever a time, like, an opportunity for you to fully feel like you could be the player that you were, like that offensive leader on the team? It seems like you never were put in that position, that would have made you successful. Like, would you agree with that? Like, why were you never put in that role? Like, it seems like you on the fourth line, it just doesn't make sense. It's not setting you up for success.
yeah, no, I never got it after I left London. And I remember the one year in Edmonton, even I got called from the coach in the summer. And he told me I hear it out. I was working my bag. Like I worked so hard in this off season and was training my ass off. Like, I really took it serious and was everything. Like I got it, woke up, it was my second year pro. So I was ready to go. And told me that I was going to get every chance to make the team. And I showed up to camp and I was on a line with Stortini and Steve McIntyre. So it was kind of like,
Mm.
I guess that's the, if I can make the team out of this line, I'm fucking doing something special. But I just, to your point, I never got there. I don't know, and I just sat there and ate it. And it's kind of weird. Frustrating part for me is I kind of have this like maybe aura in the. I feel like in the locker room, guys love me, and then when you go to the suits level, there's like this like negative cloud around me. And it's always like I had to deal with those situations the whole way through, and I felt like I handled them really well. I never like, as I'm sitting there, I never complained. I never said anything. I had one instance in the Long Island where I got in some trouble where I had a really good game in Boston and I was playing sick. Like it was visibly obvious how fucking good I was playing. Like I had a goal, assist, and was like making plays every shift. And then we some guys weren't having good games. It was clear. And we, minute left and we have the pulled goalie thing and I'm not out. And I was like, I just kind of get like, really? And one of the coaches said, shut the fuck up. And I was like, okay. I'm like, that's it. But I just wanted to be out there and help the win. That's one moment that I can look back on where I did get kind of like,
Mhm.
that's what I wanted to fucking be on the ice. I wanted to win. And the guys that were out there were like, weren't having good games. I'm like, fuck, watching, dude? Like, fuck.
Mhm.
So other than that, but I felt like I handled all those things with like dignity and class and just being a team guy and shutting the fuck up. And then, somehow it's always like you get this like, what happened to Rob Schremp? And it's like someone's got this story about, well, I don't know, something made up or whatever. It's kind of weird, man. And I never really got the opportunity to be myself and be who I could have been. That being said, you know, you do appreciate the opportunity to play in the best league in the world and all that good stuff. And you always got to live in that like woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of thing. I let that go. I held on to that for a long time, but now I don't really care. Like I have a great life. I have a great family. I love my daughters. It's like so much fun being a dad. But going on these podcasts and talking about this stuff, I think it's just an inside thing. And for me, it's a little bit therapeutical too because I do get that all the time. What happened to you? I'm like, I don't know. Here's how it went. You tell me what you think. I don't know.
Mm.
I'll make a movie on it. So we're gonna.
But isn't it interesting, like, what happened to you? But you got drafted first round to the O. You got drafted first round to the show. You played in the show. You played multiple seasons full time in the show. It's like, what do you mean? What happened? Like, you did your job. Like, that's pretty dope. Even myself, I always had dreams to play in the NHL. Never played in the NHL. I played a few preseason games, and for me, like, when you're in it, it's like that's nothing. But when you've been out of the game for a half decade or more, it's like, and you're in the beer league circuit, and you look around, it's like, actually, what I did is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty cool, and even to tell my kids, there's a handful of pictures and stuff. It's just like, I mean, that was pretty fun. It wasn't what I wanted, but I mean, it's by no means a failure. It is pretty cool
Yeah.
and a fun experience. And I still can't get over it to this day. NHL aside, just being a pro hockey player for over 10 years, it's like, man, what a fun thing. You just go to the rink and play hockey. And you were saying you got bag skated like those first or when you were in New York,
Yeah.
and it was tough. But at the end of the day, it's like, what a life. You're just flying around, just in the best shape of your life, getting paid bank, just
Yeah.
best restaurants, like, that is a dream. Like, it's an incredible dream. And I think sometimes we take it for granted. It sounds like, after reflection time, you're at peace with it too. Like, what a cool journey. Um, but then at some point, it's like Europe. You start to think about Europe. You want to play more hockey. Yeah, you played in a lot of different places in Europe. You played in all the top leagues there. What was your mindset when you were in Europe? Did you enjoy it? Were you a little bit let down because the quality of play wasn't as high as you're used to?
Um, no, it's like a confusing time too. Like my NHL career came to an end like so quick. Like being in Atlanta, Rick Dudley was a guy I met through Steve Ludwig when I was 16. So he had a long, sort of call it a history of knowing me and kind of appreciating my game and liking me. So when I got picked up in Atlanta, I was like, finally, I got someone in my corner.
Yeah.
And then that lasted like 2 months. Then they fucking sold the team to Winnipeg. And I had no idea that was coming. So I had no idea that was coming. There was never talked about in the room, Jordy. Like nobody said a word. And I was just at that year-end meeting. I actually ended the year with a concussion, which is unfortunate. That was a weird situation. Not need to talk about it, but the exit meeting was like, "Hey, Rob, we're going to call your agent. Good to go here. Like, we'll talk and we'll get you set up." Okay, that was whatever, April, and then I think it was middle of May. Group text comes from Ladder, Andrew Ladd. "Hey, boys, pack your parkas. We're going north." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And then all of a sudden on TSN, the ticker. And Thrasher sold. I was like, oh man. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I got excited. I was like, oh man, actually, we're going to a Canadian market. This is going to be sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit more reflection. I'm like, wait a minute. I wonder if all those guys are going with management, Rick Dudley specifically. And
Mm-hmm.
sure, like maybe a week after the announcement, maybe it was like, and the Winnipeg Jets have fired all their staff. I was like, oh man. The new guy came in and was like, to my agent, I think it was Cheval Dayoff, was like, oh, can we get him on a two-way? And I probably maybe read into it a little bit too much, but I'm like, that means I'm going to the minors. That is for sure. Robbie's going to the minors. I'm like, I'm not doing the minors again. So I went over to Europe with the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to prove how good I am, and then I'm going to come back.
So you didn't want to test free agency, or you just signed in the minors? You're like, I'm out, or not in the minors, in Europe.
Just
You didn't want to wait around?
I couldn't imagine going back. I mean, my last year in the minors was really bad for me, and I'm not speaking this for everybody. It's my experience and my journey. My last year in the minors, I was so depressed and confused, and I can't even describe the emotions. How me personally, I almost wanted to quit hockey, and I mean that truthfully. And you can look at my numbers. Like I went from an AHL All-Star to like fucking 42 points in 60 games, or so. I was so down. And I could not imagine checking myself back in and going, you can do this. Like the last time I was there, I couldn't do it. It drove me crazy.
What was it though? What was bad? Just because you had a taste of the show, and was it the travel, the rinks? Like, what was it specifically? Because like the American League, it's still pretty, like it's very professional. They treat you, pretty good, I guess, depending on the organization. But I mean, it's I don't know. And for you, you probably would have made good money, like, swell into six figures.
No, not even. That's not. I don't care about that. I never cared about that. But I didn't give a shit about the money. And you said it. Good organizations.
Yeah.
Remember Ryan O'Mara was sitting there one day. The team we were with, they screwed up the taxes because we had a Canadian team and an American AHL team. So something happened with the taxes. And Ryan O'Mara's, he's a dickhead, but I love the guy. Trippy, I know that you're kind of stupid, so I'm going to put this to you. I'm like, okay, what is it? He goes, my dad runs a company of about 10,000 employees. He's never had a tax problem ever. These guys have 50 contracts, and these idiots can't figure out 50. So that just tells you what kind of team we're on. I was like, okay, thanks, Omar. Thanks for dumbing it down for me. But, it's like, it wasn't a good place. We lost a lot of games, and we're losing all the time. You guys pumped us all the time. Remember, were you with Gratz? Remember the one time that we almost got that brawl in warm-ups because Gratz was fucking stretching in our side of the warm-ups?
Yeah.
You guys, Brandon sucked in.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you can imagine how that year, that time went. That's why, it's just that third year. Like Josh Gratton, I trained with him in the summers. He's awesome. I love that guy. He's such a good dude. But he was saying, he's like, 1 year in the minors is really good for players, really good. 2 years is also like you know, if you can get like a half and half, that's perfect. Like maybe 20 games in the show or something, and the rest of the minors you really mature. And it's like the third year you just start like going down. And he said that to me after my first year, and he wasn't saying, he's just kind of being a big brother, like, you know, he's been through it. And sure as shit, dude, holy fuck, it was true. It's almost like when you have a kid and people talk about the terrible twos, you know, baby, and it's like 1.5, 1 and 8 months, and they're terrible two. And you're like, dude, my kid's amazing. And then 2 strikes, and then they're all of a sudden fucking tantrums everywhere. You're like, oh my god. I was like, for us, it was like right on cue. I'm like, holy shit, you know, this was like that. Gratz's advice was almost right to a T. And going back to this story, like I just couldn't imagine going back. And yeah, you're right. Like maybe it would have been a good organization. I don't know. I have no idea. But I know that like my rookie year, even in a good one, like I was in the coach's room being asked what I could have done better on this play. When I come down on a 2-on-1, I go low blocker, post in. The coach, I'm in trouble. Like, what could you done better? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Gone bar down glove. So that, you know what I mean? Like it didn't feel good there either. So I just said, we'll go to Europe and I'll go blow it up over there and come back. That's how I really felt. I thought I could go tear it up and do well. And then, you know, a lot of talk about my skating and how bad it was. I'm like, I'll go to a good skating league and I will tear it up and then I will come back. And I went to Sweden because that's the best skating league in my opinion. And it's always been known that way. And I went there, had a really good season. And I know the numbers aren't crazy. I thought I was going to score 1,000 points. I went there and I had 2 points in my first 10 games. I was like, oh shit. It is so hard to score there. And you could not score and still be playing amazing, which I come to understand because 10 games in, I was playing for Alf Samuelson and I was stressed. Like, because all you hear about Europe and KHL and all these other places that you better play well, you're getting fired.
Yeah.
Like 2 points, 10 games, and I'm stressed out. And you could see that. And he pulled me in his office. He goes, hey, man, we're like really happy with you. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, you're playing amazing. I'm like, oh. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I got 2 points. He's like, don't count the points, buddy. It's like your puck possession, it's the plays you're making, you're setting everybody up. He's like, this league is tough to score. And that's what I was like, okay, thank you. That helped me relax. And then also that you know, like the next game I scored 2 goals. Like it, you know, that helped me relax, but also understand like, you know, I'm not crazy that this is really fucking hard to score. Like over there, it was like you had to put together 2 passes to get a goal. Like in North America, it's bang, bang. You go in the corner, you draw 2 guys, you pass it to the faceoff dot. That's a scoring threat, and it's bang, bang. In Sweden, it's like you got to draw those guys, then you give it to that guy. That guy's got to give it to another guy, and that's only a maybe goal. That's only a maybe a good chance. That's how it goes there. And it's like Carl Hagelin just said it too. He just said like Sweden is the hardest league for skilled guys to put points up, and nobody realizes that. So when you get a point per game season in Sweden, that's freaking money. So did well there, and I just thought, okay, and then all of a sudden the lockout. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, timing is everything, you know, and it's just bad timing. So
yeah,
kind of stuck there, and I was like, okay. And then, you know, when the lockout, so I kind of got kicked out with the NHL, right? Some degree. That's how the Europeans like to use the term. He got kicked out. I just didn't have a job, but then the lockout happened, and all those guys came over. So it's kind of one of those things. Like, man, now, like, what the fuck? Like now all of them were coming over. Like Joe Thornton, Patrick Kane, Tyler Sagan. They're all in Switzerland. I don't even know names, but Sweden is packed. Finland's packed. Everywhere is packed with like NHL sick players. And like I was in the KHL then, and like our team was low budget team in Latvia. They don't have a lot of money. It's, you know, kind of the KHL supported them to make them have a team. So we had like myself making, you know, the highest paid guy at like whatever, 600,000. And we got like guys in Moscow making like $400,000 a month net.
Yeah.
So that just tells you the caliber team we're on. And then we were getting peppered. Like Malkin, Corello were in Metalburg. Like, we played them twice. They had 6 points each game, both. Kovalchuk was in Ska with like Dahlman and all these other names. It was like, holy shit. Dynamo Moscow had Ovi and Backstrom and other guys. Like it was stacked. So anyways, I'm trying to get here on this.
And then you come back.
I did come back after because like that was tough, man. I went there like it wasn't good. It wasn't good, man. Like in Latvia, it was not good. Like I don't even know how it worked. Like I just got like they just shit on me right away. It's like what's going on? And it was like
Mm.
we were getting lit up. We were playing a 0-5 forecheck. Like we dumped the puck, and the first guy would stand at the blue line. The other two guys would stand at the red line, and the D would stand on the dots. Kovalchuk goes behind his fucking net, picks up the puck, and doesn't see a person for a whole zone. And now he's going through. This guy needs this much space to make a play. We're giving him a whole zone. Okay, this makes sense. And that's the theory. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. No, you got to play. You got any chance, you got to play fire with fire, man. We got to play some offense. You can't just dump it in and go, oh, let's see if you can skate through 5 guys. And then Malkin would do the same thing. And then, you get the picture. And then why isn't he playing good? Well, I don't ever have the puck. And this goes back to the Wilkes-Barre days. Yeah, like you could have those first 30 games, you could have put your 9th rounder there and been better than me for sure. This scenario, same thing. I'm not a good puck chaser. I'm good with the puck. And it didn't go well. So they fired me, and, they tried to use some tactics to do so, which is, pretty not, respectful to me, but it didn't go well. And then I got fired. And then trying to get a job, I went from the KHL down to Austria like that. And not to shit on Austria, but like, we just know the pecking order. Like when you're in the KHL, that's like right below the NHL. It's usually like the one down, like Swiss or Sweden. There was no jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we'll take you as our 5th import or 6th import. You're gonna have to wait till the NHL guys are gone. I'm like, okay. And then also they gave them all the leverage. So it's like, we'll give you like $20,000 for the rest of the year. I'm like, holy shit. Like, that's a big pay cut, man. Like, and I'm not really a $20,000 player. No offense. So I was stuck in, I got to, wind up going to Red Bull and going there. And it was good. I've met up with Danny Richmond, I love that guy. He's a good buddy of mine. We had a blast in Austria.
What was that like playing for Red Bull?
It was cool. We had a lot of imports, and we also had like Johnny Boychuk. We had NHL guys too. Johnny Boychuk, Derek Brassard, and Derek.
Was Hughes there at that time?
Johnny was there my 2nd time around.
Okay, because he's made a career. Like he went right from the good OHL player straight there, and then just stayed there and had a cozy little career. Probably made good money and lit it up and had fun. And
yeah,
some guys do that.
Yep, not a bad gig, really.
Yeah. Swift, we talked about at the beginning. He had a little bit in the American League, and then went to China Korea, and stayed there. And I don't know, he made 150 something like that US for a decade. Moves home, call it a career. I mean, that's pretty awesome if you ask me. So then, like, I don't know, how do you decide, like, we're coming to the end of your career, you bombed around, you played in all the top European leagues, but at some point the journey is like, how does it end for you? Are you just like, I'm done with hockey, there's no one calling, picking up the phone, you just want to try something new? Like, how do you start to think about ending your career?
Well, it was really abrupt. My last year playing, I had, and kind of think about it after. There's some factors, but like my last year playing, I started getting, which I didn't know it at the time what they were. I started getting anxiety attacks, and when they started happening, I thought I was having strokes because it was so debilitating. Like I'm in the middle of the game, and it's like I can't breathe, and it's like my only thoughts were like, "Oh my fucking lights are gonna go out. I hope someone comes and gets me." That's I can only describe it truthfully. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm going to take a draw. What is that? Well, okay, take the draw. Hopefully someone gets me if I fall. And then finally I was like, okay, I need help. I dealt with that for like 2 months, and I just kept it to myself. I didn't want to say anything. I just thought like, kind of like weirdly, I was like, well, I guess if I die, like I'm going to do it where I love. Like, fuck it, I'll do it on the ice. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, my wife's pregnant. I can't die. So I'm like, I'm going to go get help. And I got diagnosed with anxiety, I was like, oh, like, that's great news. I guess all this was, fuck, okay, I could deal with this. And, I dealt with it. At the time I was dealing with that, I got there late my last year, and they were in a really bad place in the standings, and we were winning games, and I climbed the leaderboard of the points really quick, and dealing with that at the same time. And come to the end of the year, and from what my agent told me is that they couldn't bring me back because of my issue. It was really frustrating. I was like, whoa, what issue? Okay. And I was mad and upset about that. And he's just convinced me to like move on and carry on. I will move on. So then I got another contract offer in Czech Republic, and the day I was supposed to sign the contract, I got a call, and they said, "Oh, Rob, you lied to us. You taking medicine and you were fucked in the head." And I was like,
What?
"What?
Wow.
Fuck said that?" And I lost it. I just quit. I was like, I can't deal with it anymore, dude. I'm so fucking done. Like, fuck this. I'm like, no way, man. What are you talking about? I'm fucked in the head. I have anxiety. So does like millions of other people. And my issue, by the way, brought the team from like last place to first place. And I was like top 5 in the league in scoring with like 20 less games. What do you mean my issue? Like, man, I just had enough. You know what I mean? Like in this game of like Steve Ludzik's terms, like that, I love the game with all my heart and never love me back. I felt that when he said that to me, and it really resonated. And at that moment, I just said, I'm done. Like I said, I just had a brand new baby. I played through 2 concussions in the playoffs that year, and with the wife at home going, "Are you crazy? You got a baby?" And for me, it was more important. Not more important. I could not play. And my brothers and we go to win and we go to war. If I'm not in the hospital and I'm not debilitated, like if I'm not like amputated, I'm fucking playing. Even with my wife all over me about it, played through it, and I put that on the line to get basically drop kicked in the nuts at the end of it. That was the last straw for me, and I quit hockey. I didn't retire. I wound up making a retirement post because I felt like I had to, but I still have 7 years left in me, maybe 8. I was playing really good and could have done, kind of what Johnny did, stayed there. So it all happened, and it was, it was tough. It was not really a planned thing, and it kind of got ripped away from me to some degree. I know I walked away, but like I couldn't do it. Like that's now the image is like now here we go. Like it's been around forever about me that I'm like whatever. There's always been this like cloud that followed me with like some good, like legendary hands and but then there's also like people that like really talk shit about me and how bad of a guy I am and crazy and blah blah blah. Now it's like I'm crazy in the head. Like that's the new thing. I'm 32 as a dad. I'm like, fuck this. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't.
Well, you know what? Like what you're saying, that there's been this cloud. Like I'm someone who's been in the game. I this is the first time hearing it. This is why I feel like it's really interesting to me. But that anxiety, like what was that? Was that from hockey or was it from outside of the game? Was it like, oh, I should be playing in the NHL or I'm not where I want to be? I know how it is going to Europe. It's like it requires like a really heavy mindset shift because things are just a lot different. And I mean, you're in the KHL, it's probably a lot different than my experience, but I don't know. It's just not what you're used to, like how the teams are run and how the game is played, the referees, just like it's different and it's uncomfortable in the beginning. Like, do you think the anxiety was coming from that, or was it just kind of like life, just pent up energy that was giving you trouble?
Oh, you man, I don't have any of those like these anxiety attacks. They come out of nowhere, and they've gotten better, which has been really nice. I've quit out. I haven't drank alcohol in 2 years, so that's helps a lot. That was a enabler to some degree, but they were coming and they were just out of the blue. There's no like sitting there and like, how do I say it? I'm not sitting there like psyching myself up with all this stress. Like I can't believe I'm here. And there's no thoughts. Like I'm just in my day to day, and all of a sudden it's like, oh fuck, I can't breathe, and then it just like tailspins into like almost like tremors. Like then I start like flinching. I'm like, what the fuck? It's not overthinking. It's not. I don't know. I'm not stressed. I was a happy pregnant dad. Call me. I wasn't nervous, but I loved that we were having a kid. You know what I mean? It was like nothing stressed me out. I had money in the bank. Like no, it's just like something. And I've come to find out, like also when I was with the Islanders, you asked about the no shield, like I almost got my eye taken out by Trevor Gillies. He hit me in the head on accident in a game. And there's like a dent in my head, and there's like certain lights hit my eye and it sends me into these things. So before some of these games, they do the freaking strobe lights and shit. Those were part of it. I can't do it now. Like I hate going out for the start of games, even in the senior A stuff. Like when they do the flashy lights and stuff, it triggers me to anxiety. Like I don't know what it is. It's something with that eye, the nerve or whatever. And it's nothing that can be done. And it's like in one of those scenarios, I remember when it happened, my dad was like, make sure you do workers' comp So I brought that to the trainer at the time, and I'm like, hey, my dad said something about like workers' comp, and I got like a guilt trip. Like, oh, you want the money? Like, you get the money, and he like get guilted. I was like, no, okay, I won't do it. So I didn't do it. And now I'm 39. I got a little bit of a problem, and it's like now it's out of my pocket now. I wish I would have gone back and been like, no, we're just gonna file that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I mean, you might have to do some paperwork. Sorry that you got to do your job, but
Yeah.
anyways, long story long, which I'm good for. But that's the story of Rob to some degree, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I feel like we glazed over the end of your European journey, and I didn't mean to do glaze it over because it is important. Every year is important, but just for time purposes, um, is there like looking back on your playing journey, was there any moment or season where everything was just aligned and perfect, and you could just go to the rink and be like, "This is what a life I'm living." Were you conscious of that at any time along the journey?
The Islanders, once I got settled in, it was like I got like a half a year, basically a half a year of that, where what you're talking about, being in flow state and feeling good and just being myself and no thoughts of getting sent down or whatever, all those things that come with it. There was like once I got back in the lineup after the healthy scratch stretch, I was good. Then I got injured, and then
Mm.
I ass up in the summer, and I came back and I broke my back in training camp. So like just like a lot of things happen, a lot of variables. So I got about a half a year of that in pro. Well, sorry, Wilkes-Barre when Nielsen got there, and then half a year in Long Island where those flow states at that high level. And then when I went over to Europe, yeah, not really. Like Moto was sick. I love that. That year was great hockey wise. Yeah, it really
Mhm.
great teammates. Hockey wise, it was amazing. Just it was living. It was tough. Like, dude, it gets dark at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't ever see the sunlight from November till February, end of February. Like, and I'm not like the sun has not come up yet when you're going to the rink. You get out of the rink at 12:45. You get like 15, and it's not sunlight, dude. It's just like the sun is going down, and then at 1:30, it's like pitch black.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. I feel like I can survive anything, but that'd be a challenge. Yeah, that'd be a challenge.
Yeah, 1:30 to 7 till dinner. It felt like if every single day feels like a week passes from that. Like holy shit, only two. And you look again, like holy shit, it's only three. And you know what I mean? Like every day, it's a Groundhog Day for like. But then you go like the hockey's good. It was awesome. Like had great season, and the locker room was awesome. We had some good dudes, and Jonas Latavodi, this Finnish guy, I love. We had a great time. All these guys, we had a bunch of good dudes. So I mean
Yeah.
that feeling, it just was like, where the hell am I? I remember like when I signed there, I had no idea. Like I just figured like all these Swedish hockey teams were like Stockholm. I had no idea. And
Mm.
North America, we have no idea what's over in Europe. Like
You know.
we all have this like, I don't know, version of it, right? But so I just figured everything was like Stockholm. And then when Marcus Naslund picked me up from the airport, which ironically he was one of my idols growing up too. Like him and Forsberg I loved him. It's on my Terry D. Quebec card. Peter Forsberg, my favorite player. So he was Naslund was the GM and Forsberg was the assistant GM. Naslund picked me up from the airport and we're driving. And I'm like, man, it's kind of wooded, It's like, all right, well, I guess City will be up here somewhere. And we get to the top, like in Ovik, like you get to the top, like you see everything. It's two streets, hockey rink, and a paper mill. And I was like, my face went white. And and he looked over at me and he's like, don't worry, you're gonna like it here. It's like, it's a good spot. And I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, what I do. So I turned down big money in mints. I mean, it was like big discrepancy in contract, like 1.1 versus like 350. I
Wow.
didn't care about money. It wasn't about money. But at that point it was kind of like, well, 800,000 more. I probably could have done it. I thought this was gonna be sick.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
it's so interesting. First time in Europe was very similar, like 6,000 population town, but all the little things too that no one mentions, like going to the grocery store and you have no idea what anything is. And if it's not in a clear package, you have no clue. You have absolutely no clue. And then just things are a bit they eat different food. It's same but different, but you're just not used to it. Even the stoves and the fridges, they're all different. And getting used to all that, there is a bit of culture shock. Like it's not as hardcore as going to China, because you ended up in China too. Like that's much more radical culture shock. But yeah, people don't talk about it. But having said that, just living in Europe, you were there for hockey season 8, 9 months, like living there, you're in this little town, you're just learning to live and play hockey and enjoy the little things, the espressos and all this. Looking back, like on your life story or for your book or for the movie, like what a great experience. Like what a great experience. And it's just such a beautiful thing. Like I take all of it. I just love it all. I played a year in Italy, and I had this apartment that was on a top floor of a barn. It was on a little dairy farm, and I opened my windows and there's snow-capped mountains. I just sit on my computer and have €2 or €2 bottles of wine and be chatting to my friends,
Yeah.
back home. And it's just like, what a life this is. Like, this is really cool. It's not the NHL, but I
Yep.
mean, they're giving me money to play hockey.
Yep.
It's just a cool thing. Before we finish, can you just tell me a little bit about China and what the hockey scene's like over there?
Yeah, the China hockey scene is really growing, and there's a lot of passion there. The Olympics. I think the Olympics were in 18, if I'm not mistaken, but somewhere around that time, that really planted a seed, because going into that, they obviously put a lot of resource into it and a lot of attention to make sure that their hockey was climbing up to par to the Olympic level. So that domino effect has been great for the region. There's a lot of passion. There's people that have a lot of money over there that can, invest, because it's not easy either. I was in Hong Kong, so you can imagine that, like, it's not easy to have rinks there. There's not a lot of land. So a lot of the rinks are in the malls. Most of them are, I think all of them are. Well, yeah, they're all in malls of some degree. But the families and the people are very passionate about it. And you got some, we had some high level kids. This kid, Mitchell Smith, his dad was the owner of the organization that I worked for, the China Hockey Group. And his Greg's brother played in the AHL. I believe he's in the AHL Hall of Fame. He was a sick goal scorer. Call him Shooter. He could snipe, and he does a lot of development stuff in Ottawa. But Canadian background, so they understand it pretty well. And that there's some passionate people there. And we had some kids over there, like this kid Henry Young. He's 12 years old. He's nasty. Like, he would come over here and he would do really well at AAA. Mitchell, the same thing. He's 13 or 14, maybe 13. He would come over here and light up AAA. So we had a couple of those. Godfrey, there's a handful, about 10 kids that, I was really enjoying, like that. I've enjoyed working with everybody, but you know what I'm saying? Like, those
Mhm.
kids have that like next level gear, like manipulation of the release, how to release, manipulation of the release in the games, like how to get to these scoring spots. And then outside of that, there's a lot of like, learn to play and development that, people have passion for. They'd sign up for the program. We had like 400 people in our organization. So a lot of passion there. And the one thing that's crazy though is that the ice cost is insane. It's $1,400 an hour US for an hour of ice. So, we think about stuff over here, like you can, you want your kid to get good private and stuff like that. Like, you could pay, I don't know, like someplace like $150 for the full sheet, $150, and then you pay a trainer, right? Or if that's not something in your wheelhouse, you can, you can also get like 4 other players, right? And then it turns into whatever, do that math, it's $50, turns into like maybe $60 or $70 to do that in China or Hong Kong. Like, think about the math, like just to cover the 1,400, if you got to get like,
Right.
you know, it's,
Huh.
so it's a very wealthy sport, but a lot of passion there. And a lot of people want to use that vehicle of hockey to get to prep school and then get to, Ivy League school. That's like their Stanley Cup. That's like their NHL, to use this sport in that degree and get to a level where they can play in a prep school and then advance on to a college, and have a, play a sport at college. So that's the passion, what I found from there. And, I could be wrong, but that was my read on it. And that's where, a lot of the questions, what prep schools are good and what do we need to do to get in there, and what kind of level do we need to be at to get there? So those are the questions being asked. And, I was happy and proud to do it for a year and give it a shot and learn a lot too. I was the director of hockey ops, so I got a chance to sort of learn about organizational skills, all those office skills that, we don't in hockey as athletes. Like, what it's like. We're pretty much pampered and babied.
Mhm.
You come out of the game, you're so fresh.
Yeah. They taught you everything though. They like sort of showed
Oh,
you the ropes, trained you.
back end systems, CRM systems. You got the payment processing through the hockey shop, the organization of scheduling ice and all that good stuff, and organizing tournaments. I didn't do it all on my own. This guy, Chris Ivany, who was a master at it, he's been a school teacher over there for 20 years. So that was really helpful to have him. Had a good team. Rudy, this guy from Czech Republic, goalie coach, he's an awesome dude, and we really hit it off well. So we had some great people involved, and getting to learn those things outside the game was kind of the main thing for me. Like I didn't go there to learn how to teach, so to speak, like knowledge of the game. I did learn a lot about how to use different avenues to teach somebody. And that was through Chris Ivany, because I remember a couple kids, I just was like, man, I've tried I'm trying so hard. Like I'm the nicest guy. Then maybe I try to be mean to them. And then and then Chris was like, dude, check this little pamphlet out we use for teaching. And it's like 7 ways to get through to a student. And it was like, there's all these different ways. And I was like, fuck, that is brilliant. And it helped so much, because the one that I didn't do was the one that this guy that I thought about needed. And I was like, man, I wish I had this like 2 months ago. But I'm not getting like losing my shit. I just get frustrated internally, because when you're passionate about something and you care, like you want to have an impact. And when you can't, that's frustrating. It's just like going back to 20-year-old Robbie in the AHL, like wanting to have an impact on the play, but being a rookie, you need to shut up. It's frustrating. Same frustration. So that part of like when you start growing like that as a human, that's it's so much fun. It's like I learned something for life now. I mean, that's sick. And I'll be able to apply that everywhere, whether it's business, whether it's hockey stuff, whatever it might be. Like understanding that not everybody's the same, and there's different ways to approach things. Obviously for us, sometimes it's like, no, you just got to be strong and power through it. No, there's like 7 other ways to do this, and then you can power through it. But it was good. And yeah, I just went on another long story, but
no, man, that's amazing insight. So what are you doing now?
Now I am making a movie. Right now we got it called The Ice, and it's just a story about my story, life story, kind of coming from rags to riches and making it, and all the lessons in between. And the movies, we're really excited about it, because we're going to get a chance. We get some great people involved to make that great story of these life lessons that I'm kind of spitting out here on this podcast, built into a script. And then at the same time, a very top end cinematic movie, in the sense of we want to capture the quality of like Formula One / Top Gun Maverick, meets Rocky on Ice sort of thing. And at the termination, matched up with like how sick our game is, this game is developed and it's amazing, dude. Like the McDavids and the McKinnons and the speed and the skill and all that good stuff. We want to show both that as well, and have a good celebration of hockey, and give people that aren't hockey fans a view a little bit of it through my story. And I'm excited to do it. And then on the back end, I'm doing business development for a biotech company, biotech agriculture. We do golf courses and farms. So it's a project I've been really passionate about, to do something outside of hockey and have an impact, and use my network to help develop a company. Has been a lot of fun. Also a learning process. We do an Earth Microbial every Friday, and I get a chance to just be a fly in the wall, some really smart people. And it's fun to learn, and it's fun to have something different to talk about other than half wall and you know what I mean? Like we can only talk about, so it's fun to kind of broaden my horizons and meet different people. And then last but not least, I do play still senior A, and I do video work with players, and whenever, someone needs that kind of help, I love doing video work and staying in the game and kind of my own lane. It's not jumping behind a bench and going through all the politics again. I'm kind of in my own lane and giving my knowledge back to the game, but not having to deal with, all the sort of roadblocks that you got to listen to today that I kind of had to deal with.
Man, that's incredible and inspiring. I'm just thinking like what an awesome thing to have a little workshop through you, where you're talking like the technical side of the power play and in the offensive side of hockey. Because I had a full-on pro career, but I was never that elite offensive player. Like there's a lot that I would like to learn. Still. So having someone like you, to run a workshop, that'd be really insightful. But I just want to thank you for this talk. I learned a lot about your journey, and as mentioned at the beginning, you were, one of those players who, when I came out of minor hockey and you end up in the OHL, you look around, there's some guys that are like, okay, this guy's on another, he's got a few extra gears, you were one of those guys, and also very inspiring for me. As I mentioned before, you're never afraid to be yourself. And it's hard to do that, for a lot of youth players. It's hard to have the courage to be yourself. You did it, and you never said sorry for it, and that's, to me, it's pretty damn cool. So yeah, thank you for sharing your story. I hope people are inspired as much as I am. And yeah, I look forward to the next one, and also look forward to seeing what you get up to in life outside of hockey.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for having me on. It was a great talk. Seems like we can go all day, buddy. So I appreciate it. It was a great chat, and I look forward to linking up with you down the road. And we'll stay in touch, dude.
Yeah, for sure, Shrimpy. Okay, have a good day, my friend.
Cheers, brother.
Ciao.